Hello, fellow Christmas lovers and enthusiasts. You are listening to Closer to Christmas. This is episode number 7 for October 2022. With the spooky season coming right around the corner and everybody being decked out for Halloween, it brings up a topic that I wanted to talk about on this episode, and that is the Christmas spider. So now that you know what this episode is all about, go ahead and grab your favorite blend of coffee, cappuccino, hot chocolate, espresso, whatever drink you choose to drink, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. And before I get into the main topic of this episode, I just want to say that the Closer to Christmas podcast is now a proud member of the Christmas Podcast Network. The Christmas Podcast Network is home to hundreds and hundreds of different Christmas episodes and podcasts that are available, so make sure you check that out over on christmaspodcasts.com, and I would just like to say thank you for allowing me to join the ranks of some of the best Christmas podcasts out there. So make sure you check out all the other shows on the network. We're going to hear a little bit from one of the shows at the end of this episode, but you can check that all out at christmaspodcasts.com. And now to the main topic of this episode, the Christmas spider. With everybody being knee-deep in Halloween, we got the decorations out, all the stores are flooded with Halloween, and actually most of the stores nowadays have the Christmas stuff out as well, so it's always a fun juxtaposition to go into a store and see the Halloween and Christmas out. It just screams Nightmare Before Christmas to me. But, with that said, all of the Halloween decorations at my house are up. I was out in the front yard covering everything in spider webs, hanging skeletons up off of the roof. The whole house is decked out. And that leads me to the topic of the Christmas spider. So what is the Christmas spider, you say, and how can we tie in spiders with Christmas? Well, the legend of the Christmas spider is an Eastern European folktale which explains the origin of tinsel that we hang on our Christmas trees. In places like in Western Ukraine, they hang small ornaments on their trees that are in the shape of spider webs. So if you go on the internet and you try to look for the story of the Christmas spider, there's going to be many variations of the story online, so there's a couple different ones you could choose from. But the main gist of the story, it's a story about a poor, hardworking widow who lived in a small hut with a dirt floor. One summer day, a pine cone fell onto the floor in the middle of the hut, and it took root, and it started to grow a tree. The widow's children cared for the little tree as it was growing, and all the kids were very excited to have a Christmas tree in the house come Christmas time, so they really took care of this tree. The kids spent all year taking care of the tree, making sure that it would be grown and fully grown by Christmas time so they could decorate it, but come Christmas time, when Christmas arrived, they realized that they did not have enough money to decorate the tree. Once they realized that, the children were all sad, and they went to bed on Christmas Eve, just wishing that they were able to decorate the tree and have a great Christmas. Early the next morning, when they woke up, they saw that the tree was covered in cobwebs. When they opened the windows, the first rays of sunlight touched the webs and it turned them into gold and silver. The widow and her children were overjoyed, and then from then on, they were never poor again. The origins of the folktale are unknown, but it's believed to have come from either Germany or Ukraine. In Germany, Poland, and Ukraine, finding a spider or a spider web in the Christmas tree is considered good luck. People in Ukraine create small Christmas tree ornaments that are in the shape of spiders and spider webs to hang in their tree. So the tradition of using tinsel in our trees is based on this story. As I mentioned before, there's multiple versions of the story out there, and I'm going to cover another version of the story right after this break. But before I do that, I just want to take this time to thank anyone that left reviews about the podcast, so I'm going to go ahead and read some of them now. Alright, that did not take very long, did it? Okay, so with that said, I know it's kind of fun to laugh at yourself every now and then. I don't mind doing it, but if you're listening to this podcast and you like it at all, if you could leave a rating or a review wherever you listen to it, it would be greatly appreciated. Reviews are what really gets a podcast out there and helps other people discover it as well. So please, if you're listening on iTunes or whatever podcast platform you choose, if you have the option to leave a rating and a review, I would really appreciate it. So thank you very much, and now we'll get back to version 2 of the story of the Christmas spider. And version number 2 of the story is a long time ago. There was a mother who was cleaning up her house for Christmas. Spiders fled up into the attic so they could escape the broom and being swept up. On Christmas Eve, the spiders slowly came down for a peek. "Oh, look at the beautiful tree," they said in excitement as they scurried up and out along all of the branches. They were filled with happiness as they climbed amongst the glittering beauty. But alas, by the time they were done, the tree was shrouded in their dusty gray spider webs. When Santa came with the gifts for the children and saw that the tree was covered in spider webs, he smiled because he saw how happy the spiders were. But knew how heartbroken the mother would be if she saw it that it was covered in dusty spider webs. So he turned all the spider webs into strands of silver, and the tree was even more beautiful than before. And that's the story of tinsel on the trees and why every tree should have a spider Christmas ornament in the tree. So that is leading me to my next question. Do you have a spider ornament that you hang in your tree? I don't have one that I hang in mine, but I think I'm going to keep one of my Halloween decorations out after Halloween is over so I could hang it in my tree, and hopefully I'll wake up to my tree covered in silver. So when I was a child and growing up, we actually did use tinsel on our trees when I was growing up, and the trees that I use now, I don't use tinsel just because they're not the best thing for pets, but I do remember when we were little, we would hang the tinsel all over the trees and the cats would go up and bat at it and have a good time with it, and of course some of it got consumed every now and then, so you have to be really careful if you do that and if you have pets. But I don't even think I've seen tinsel for sale in stores around here for a while now, so maybe it's something that they discontinued. I don't know. We usually use the garland that's all shiny, so kind of gives it the same effect but a little more streamlined. But if you use tinsel on your tree, or if you have a spider ornament, why don't you email me a picture of it? Once you get it all set up, you could email all of that stuff over to closertochristmaspod@gmail.com, or you can send a picture. Or if you do post a picture up on Instagram, you could tag me on that. My username over there is @closertoxmas. So that's going to do it for this episode of Closer to Christmas. We covered the Christmas spider. So if you have any other stories or versions of this that you like, go ahead and email them to me. I'd love to read them, and maybe I'll even read them on a future update on this podcast. And you could always get in touch with me, closertochristmaspod@gmail.com, for any questions, comments, or concerns. And like I said, at the end of this episode, stick around for a commercial for one of the other great podcasts on the Christmas Podcast Network. So thank you guys for listening, and the next time you hear my voice and this podcast, we're all going to be a little bit closer to Christmas. See you next time. I would like to thank Kevin Ague for letting me use his music for the intro and outro to this episode. Links to his music can be found on the description for this podcast.
What's up, dudes? I'm Jerry D of Totally Rad Christmas, the podcast that talks all things Christmas in the 80s. Toys, movies, specials, music, books, fashion, and fads.
If it was gnarly during Christmas in the 80s, he's got it covered. Wait, is there a lot of things to talk about for the 80s and Christmas?
Well, you got the movie giants like Christmas Vacation, Scrooged, and A Christmas Story. There are TV specials like Muppet Family Christmas, Claymation Christmas Celebration, and a Garfield Christmas special.
Plus classics shown every year.
You also jam out to Last Christmas, Do They Know It's Christmas, and Christmas in Hollis. But most of all, it was a time for the most bodacious, best-selling Christmas toys ever, like He-Man, G.I. Joe, Transformers,
and Cabbage Patch Kids.
Yes, them too. We cover them all, plus much more, including standard segments like Hap Hap Happiest Memory, Gag Me with the Spoon, The Other Half of the Battle,
and Chant with the Littles.
So tune in to Totally Rad Christmas everywhere you get your podcasts. Turn the clock back and dive into those warm and fuzzy memories.
Later, dudes.